Today I will be discussing the research topic, does a structured literacy program provide neuro-affirming support of reading comprehension for ADHD middle primary students? This topic will be explored by discussing key literature, examining the linkages to APSTs, and reflecting on the impacts on practice. A theoretical analysis conducted by Katsaru et al. Found that approximately 30% of students with ADHD show significant delays in reading comprehension and often are affected by other comorbidities that would impact their ability to comprehend texts. Inattention, increased impulsivity, lack of executive functions mixed with language disorders and other conditions meant that ADHD students were increasingly likely to be lower in reading comprehension than their neurotypical peers. The author emphasized that a multidisciplinary and inclusive program would be the most beneficial to supporting ADHD students' layered learning needs to improve reading comprehension, as well as further research. A meta-analysis of studies targeting reading outcomes in middle primary students with ADHD who were being supported using targeted reading intervention was conducted by Chan et al. In 2022. The outcome of this study showed that though targeted reading intervention had meaningful improvements for students, intervention needed to include a minimum of 30 hours of targeted instructional time focusing on decoding and phonemic awareness to make any improvements. Though the study was promising in supporting ADHD students, teachers in mainstream classrooms often do not have the resources, support, or training for interventional support. A study conducted by Avramovich and Yuri in 2022 set out to examine if the differences in reading comprehension between students with ADHD and those without could be associated with executive functioning. The key findings from this study showed that students with ADHD performed worse in both reading comprehension and several executive functioning tasks compared to their neurotypical peers. The implication of this study suggests that this topic is multifaceted and needs a multidisciplinary approach to support ADHD students in reading comprehension that includes teaching self-monitoring of understanding, supporting the strengthening of executive functioning skills that relate to language processing, and neuro-affirming classrooms similar to the Universal Design for Learning approach. A study conducted by Kakaloudou et al. In 2021 demonstrated the effects that choice has on reading comprehension, resulting in a significant improvement on reading comprehension. Authors found that by giving students choice, reading comprehension improved for all students due to increasing motivation to read, as well as maintaining attention longer. These results support the theory that allowing students to have some control over their reading material can boost cognitive engagement and provide intrinsic motivation, which is highly sought after for students with ADHD. The authors acknowledge that this strategy would be most effective as a complement to other neuro-affirming strategies and would not be considered a singular remedy for reading comprehension difficulties. Finally, a pilot study conducted by Stewart et al. In 2022 noted that ADHD students have a core symptom of inattention that is strongly associated with lower reading outcomes. In this study, they implement a structured reading strategy called STRIVE with middle primary ADHD students. The Meadows Center states that STRIVE program incorporates explicit modeling and guided practice that focuses on vocabulary scaffolded within the literacy learning block, providing corrective feedback in the moment and opportunities for student collaboration and personal input. The key findings of this study showed that students who participated in the program significantly outperformed their peers who did not in literacy skills, including comprehension. This study demonstrates the positive impact a structured literacy program such as STRIVE has on students' reading comprehension when they have ADHD or have inattention. In summary, students with ADHD show delays in reading comprehension, leading researchers to understand that this is a complex topic that requires a multidisciplinary, inclusive approach. Though the study conducted by Chan et al. In 2022 suggests providing targeted interventions to support ADHD, for that to be successful, teachers must deliver over 30 hours per week for each student, focusing on decoding and phonemic awareness, which in most mainstream classrooms is not achievable. Avramovich and Yuri confirmed that executive functioning skills were lacking in students with ADHD and show a direct correlation to lowered reading comprehension. The authors concluded that we must consider supporting executive functioning skills delivered in a multidisciplinary approach to improve reading comprehension. Students with ADHD are also impacted by lack of motivation and an inability to maintain attention. The study found that allowing students a choice in reading provided intrinsic motivation and interest, improving reading comprehension for all students. The authors concluded this strategy should be included to complement a multidisciplinary approach. And finally, a study completed by Stewart et al. Also found a strong association between inattention and lowered reading outcomes. The authors implemented a structured literacy program to support ADHD students' reading comprehension through explicit modeling, guided practice, collaboration, and student input. The results of this study showed that ADHD students who participated in the study significantly outperformed their peers who did not participate in reading comprehension. So how does this tie into the Australian curriculum, and how can teachers best support ADHD middle primary students in reading comprehension? Structured literacy programs are being utilised to support all students' literacy learning due to a rollout by the Department of Education in 2024. As discussed in the literature, this approach draws upon evidence-based and neuro-affirming strategies that support neurodivergent learners using universal methods to improve literacy learning, including reading comprehension. As outlined by the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership, under APST 2.5, Literacy and Numeracy Strategies, a graduate teacher must know and understand and apply literacy teaching strategies. Based on the literature, ADHD students need to be supported by a multifaceted approach that integrates neuro-affirming strategies in a universal design for learning. This literacy strategy is evidence-based and driven by data and utilizes explicit modeling, cumulative learning opportunities, multimodal instruction, scaffolded building of skills, and highly interactive, providing targeted prompt feedback. Considering the literature and its discussions regarding supporting ADHD students' executive functioning, attention, and motivation, this structured literacy approach is designed to support all students' reading comprehension, inclusive of ADHD students in middle primary. Under APST 4.1, students support student participation. Graduate teachers must be able to identify strategies to support inclusive student participation and engagement in classroom activities. As mentioned in the study conducted by Katsuru et al., 30% of students with ADHD show delays in reading comprehension. To be able to support the participation and engage all students in an inclusive approach, graduate teachers must consider how ADHD and other neurodevelopmental conditions affect students' reading comprehension. As discussed, the literature outlines that ADHD students thrive in their reading comprehension when effectively supported in the classroom. The proposed structured literacy program provides an inclusive and neuro-affirming strategy that uses a universal design for learning that works alongside students' individual needs, building upon foundational knowledge, filling the gaps, and scaffolding learning using collaboration, student input, interactive activities, and explicit modeling. Though this approach is new in concept and application, this strategy sounds promising in supporting ADHD students in strengthening their reading comprehension using neuro-affirming strategies. Using Driscoll's reflective model, I considered how the literature and requirements of a graduate teacher as per Eitzel will impact my teaching practices. What? According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, ADHD is the most prevalent childhood disorder, with 7.4% of children being diagnosed. With that, approximately 30% of those students with ADHD struggle with reading comprehension. The comprehension of reading is an essential skill needed to succeed in every facet of learning and is integrated throughout the Australian curriculum as a general capability. Based on the literature, ADHD students struggle with reading comprehension due to executive dysfunction, inattention, lack of motivation, and other comorbidities such as dyslexia. Teachers need to use neuro-affirming strategies to support ADHD students in improving their executive functioning skills, maintain intrinsic motivation and attention through the use of multifaceted, inclusive universal approaches as suggested by the literature. A study conducted by Stewart et al. Utilized a structured literacy program called STRIVE and demonstrated an increase in reading comprehension for all students, including ADHD students. This links to APS 2.5 and 4.1, as this approach is inclusive and encourages participation of all students by understanding and implementing literacy strategies that supports the growth of reading comprehension skills, including ADHD students. So what? After reviewing the literature, I've been able to further understand the importance of utilizing neuroaffirming strategies to support ADHD students with reading comprehension and feel that a structured literacy program such as the one the Department of Education has rolled out is appropriate. This structured literacy strategy is a new concept, and further research is required to determine its rate of success for neurodiverse students, but I feel it is a promising approach that has been created to utilize evidence-based strategies combined with literacy-specific supports that work with ADHD students' traits. Though targeted interventions show success, I have first-hand experience in a classroom and can say that the time that is required to truly support ADHD students one-on-one is not achievable. Instead, utilizing a structured approach that integrates the explicit modeling of literacy skills in combination with collaboration and student input allows ADHD students to maintain their attention, build their executive functioning skills, be motivated to read, and increase their reading comprehension skills as a whole class. Now what? This review has motivated me to understand how I can best support ADHD students to improve their reading comprehension as a graduate teacher. To support each student, differentiation and making reasonable adjustments are required as outlined in the Disability Standards for Education Act 2005, and thus implementing a structured literacy program not only aligns with the Act, but also the Australian curriculum, and is supported by the literature to improve reading comprehension for middle primary ADHD students. To start, I will undergo additional professional development to understand how to effectively deliver the structured literacy program, allowing me to future plan my lessons and literacy unit to ensure that I am supporting ADHD students in reading comprehension. I will utilize neuroaffirming strategies that work with their traits, such as allowing them a choice of reading materials and collaborating as a class to sustain motivation and attention. By implementing this approach, students with ADHD will experience a greater success as they improve their executive function skills, maintain attention, become engaged, and build confidence in their reading comprehension abilities. Thank you for listening.